Mount Lushan, a UNESCO World Heritage Site in East China's Jiangxi province, with a forest cover of 76.6%, the unique natural environment here has produced rich plants. As I look around, it's just full of trees and fresh air. Now, the place where I'm standing is the Lushan Botanical Garden of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. The garden is an important base for the protection of plant diversity in China, as it conserves more than 5,500 species of ex-situ plants, of which more than 180 are rare and endangered. Today, experts in this garden will take me to unveil the mystery of the fantastic plants and how they are protected in the garden. I heard that researcher Zhang Lehua in this garden has resurrected a rare rhododendron that had been listed as extinct. So let's go to this rhododendron greenhouse to meet Zhang Lehua. 张老师您好。
你好，你好，
你好，你好。
欢迎。
这个温室里都是什么植物？
这个是我们庐山植物园的杜鹃花繁殖和保育温室。大家也看过去，这些所有的那个苗子都是我们从不同的产地引过来的杜鹃花，
全部都是。
对，我们建这个繁殖和保育温室，目的就是一个是繁殖杜鹃花的育苗，同时保育一些那个珍稀濒危植物，还有一个就是说有一些像从云南引过来的杜鹃花，它的耐寒性较差，那么我们就需要在这里才能安全过渡。
Okay, so all the plants are rhododendron from different origins. Basically, Mr. Zhang told me that this greenhouse is for breeding rhododendron and conserving rare and endangered rhododendrons, such as wild rhododendrons under national key protection, threatened rhododendron, and some of them that cannot survive the winter in the wild. 张主任，您刚刚说到有很多的这些杜鹃都是来自各种各样不同的地方，您能不能给我们介绍一下我们做杜鹃的迁地保护大概是什么样的一个流程？
从生物多样性保护角度来讲，我们植物园那个迁地保护杜鹃花都是从原产地及熟悉土壤杜鹃花的种子，再繁殖它的这个植株。但是我们大家都知道，杜鹃花它是一个高山花卉。它通常分布在那个人烟非常稀少的高海拔地区，所以说物种收集非常困难。同时，这个杜鹃花它的种子非常小，所以说它的那个幼苗生长非常慢，而且成苗率低。所以说，杜鹃花迁地保护它是一个长期而系统的一个工作，它需要几代人的共同努力。所以说，那个像英国爱丁堡皇家植物园，它目前是收集了500多种那个杜鹃花，也是通过了几百年的努力才完成的。
So Mr. Zhang just told me that the process of ex-situ conservation is basically to collect rhododendron seeds from the wild and then propagate seedlings in this greenhouse. As rhododendron is usually distributed in sparsely populated middle and high mountainous areas, the collection of the seeds can be very difficult. And also, rhododendron seeds are extremely small and seedlings grow very slowly, so the collection and ex-situ protection of rhododendron is a long-term work that requires efforts of several generations. For instance, Britain's Royal Botanical Garden, Edinburgh, has spent hundreds of years to collect about 500 species of rhododendron. 那在这么多的杜鹃里面，您能不能给我们介绍一个最有代表性的，或者是最特别的杜鹃？
在这个温室里面，我们保护了很多珍稀濒危植物，其中这一个是被多个名录列为那个灭绝种的小溪洞杜鹃。那么这个小溪洞杜鹃，它最大的一个形态特征就是说它的那个全株都密闭又长又密的一个线毛。你可以感觉一下它的线毛非常粘手。 这个线毛可以粘住一些那个小型的一些昆虫，
这些都是
所以说它可以滴一些那个小蚜虫都可以防治效果。
这样好神奇，它可以保护自己。
对。
Okay, so this is a very special rhododendron. In Chinese, it's called Shidon rhododendron, which was once listed as an extinct species. It has a lot of long hair, as you can see, and the glands could stick to some small insects and reduce the harm.
这个小型的杜鹃，它的开花期非常晚，它每年的6月下旬到7月中下旬才来开花。它的花色是这个纯白色的。
白色的杜鹃。
但是非常遗憾，这种杜鹃花，它从种子到它开花大概是要10年左右的时间。那么我们今天就没办法直接看到那个实物，我们只能给大家分享一下那个小型的杜鹃的一个花。这就是它开的一个白色的花，非常非常漂亮。
是的，是的。Okay, so this is a picture of a Shidon rhododendron when it blooms. This rhododendron blooms very late, probably from late June to July every year, and it will take about 10 years for it to bloom from seed. So we cannot see its flowers now. It's a pity, but we can take a look at this picture. Really beautiful, isn't it? 那张主任，像刚刚您提到说，其实小西洞杜鹃它之前已经被列为灭绝的品种了。那为了保护小西洞杜鹃，我们像您和您的团队都做了哪一些努力呢？
这个小西洞杜鹃，目前只发现仅分布在我们井冈山的一个山脉里面。它对生态环境要求非常严，所以说它种群非常稀少。在1988年，这个采纳的模式标本发表的一个新种。那么当这个小型杜鹃我们被认为灭绝以后，我们组织我们科研团队就是这几年前后10多次到野外进行一个考察，终于在2019年我们又重新发现了这个物种。
So this Shidon rhododendron is a rare and endangered wild plant, endemic to the Jiangxi mountains in Jiangxi province. And this flower demands a specific growing environment and has a very small population. Mr. Zhang and his team just doubted whether it was really extinct or not, so they carried out more than 10 field trips and finally found a wild Shidon rhododendron in 2019. And after that, they introduced the seeds and seedlings to Lushan.
那么这个物种我们重新发现以后，我们就立即启动了它的幼苗扩繁工作。大家来看，这几年我们就是每年都会从原产地去出这台种子。这个是我们今年属于种子，去年是今年播种繁殖的幼苗。你看，这个是2021年繁殖的苗。那边还有一个是2019年收的种子，2020年第一批繁殖的小型杜鹃幼苗。那么通过这几年的努力，我们已经繁殖了小型杜鹃幼苗有上万颗。
Okay, so this is a seed sowed this year, which was collected last year, and these are Shidon rhododendron seedlings sowed in 2021. And this greenhouse has grown nearly 10,000 Shidon rhododendrons.
那么随着这些幼苗的慢慢长大，我们3到5年以后，我们就可以开展一些野外回归工作，让回归到野外以后，让自然的种群慢慢的种群数量慢慢增加，也就是说使这个物种慢慢的不濒危，或者降低了濒危等级。同时这几年我们也从也模仿的自然生境进行了圈地保护。我们在杜鹃园里面也圈地保护了少量的小型杜鹃植株。目前生长得非常好，估计2到3年可以开花了。
真的很棒。So Mr. Zhang just told me that after 3 to 5 years, these Shidon rhododendrons will be able to be returned to the wild, and so the population will be expanded. 张老师，真的谢谢您今天带我认识了这么多的杜鹃，我也觉得非常的感动，看到您和您的团队这样子的努力。
不客气。
谢谢。
好，谢谢你。
下次再见。
好。
Okay, so the end of rhododendron journey. This is the first time that I have known so many rhododendrons in the world. So where will be my next destination? So now I'm going to meet a researcher in the Botanical Garden who is responsible for science popularization. Let's go. 聂老师好。
哎，你好，你好，
你好
欢迎，欢迎，欢迎。来，我们现在到的是庐山竹园的展览温室
啊。
那么这个温室主要种植的是什么呢？是一些热带、亚热带以及多浆类植物。因为这些植物呢在庐山过不了冬，所以一定要放在温室里面进行繁殖，让它生长的。
Okay. So Mr. Nie Jianbo just told us that the greenhouse now we are in is the greenhouse for tropical, subtropical, and succulent plants, especially plants who cannot survive the winter in the wild.
在这儿的话，为了增加你的参与感，给你一个小任务。
小任务
这个任务是什么呢？你可以看到这张图片。这个叫什么呢？叫叶上花。它在一个叶子上面开了一朵花。你的任务是在这个温室里面把它找出来。
好，它就在这个这么大的温室里面。
对。
Okay, so Mr. Nie just gave me a challenge, which is to find this plant in this greenhouse. It's something that I've never seen before. This is a leaf, but there is a flower in the middle of the leaf. Right, really fantastic. Can I find it?
好，
那我们先往里面走走。
可以先看到这个是什么？三角梅啊。三角梅
我见过
比较多。然后这边的多浆类植物，来再带给你看一些特殊的。
This is a flower that very common in China.
来，你穿过这个叶子，可以看后面有一个橄榄形的果实，看得见吗？
在那里。
对，就是那个。
对。
这个叫什么呢？叫木本番茄，又把它叫树番茄。
番茄。
对，番茄，你吃的番茄是1年生的，这个是多年生的木本番茄，而它果实的口感呢非常不错，而且它里面的种子呢跟我们吃的番茄是一模一样的。
这样子。Okay, so through the leaves, we can see there are many fruits. Do you know what it is? The shape is like an olive, but much bigger than an olive. It's actually called tree tomato. It's tomato. And it's like the daily tomatoes that we eat. It tastes very special, and it also has seeds inside. Wow. Tomatoes, a tree, and tomatoes on a tree.
再带你看一个非常漂亮的花，来，咱们往这边。好，我们接着看这个。你看这个花漂亮不漂亮？
漂亮。
它像一个小姑娘穿着花裙子在跳舞一样。那么这个叫什么呢？叫倒挂金钟，又叫吊钟海棠。但是这种植物呢非常特殊，特殊在哪儿呢？因为它超过30度，生长情况就不是很好了。所以呢，庐山一年基本上大部分时间温度在30度以内，所以它在庐山的生长情况非常非常良好。所以我们这儿品种是非常非常多的。
好漂亮。
对，非常非常漂亮。
So Mr. Nie just told me that this very beautiful flower is called fuchsia. It looks like a girl dancing in a dress, isn't it? And this plant has very strict requirements of temperature. And the temperature in Lushan is within 30 Celsius degree all year round, which is the best temperature for this plant's growth. Okay.
来，这边花都非常多。你可以仔细看一下，完成你的任务。
Okay, Mr. Nie just reminded me that I have this challenge, and I was almost distracted by all these beautiful flowers. But where is the target that I'm looking for? 所以它是一个有多大的一个植物啊？因为这个我只能看到
它不是很大，高度大概在10到20公分。
10到20。
对，
It's like this tall.
Yes.
Okay. 叶子中间有花。
对。
没有 ，no flowers on leaves. No flowers. 哎，
对，
这个
对，很像，
很像，但是
其实就是它，这是它开花的时候。我们可以看见啊，它叶子中间每一片叶子中间都有一朵，看见没有？它的特殊之处在哪儿呢？它是长在叶子上面的。一般我们的花的话，可能是在顶端或者枝头。 但是唯独这种花呢，它是在叶子中间开花的。
了解。
它本名呢叫什么呢？叫假叶树。由于它的花是开在叶子中间，所以它有一个名叫什么呢？叫叶上花。这是它的独特之处，也是它的别致之处。
然后这是开花的时候。
对，这是开花的时候。对。
Okay, so this is a bud on the leaf, and this protruding part is actually a flower. And the flowers are especially small, just like a bug lying on the leaves, which is why they often go unnoticed. But it's really very special, isn't it?
庐山植物园的职工呢，为了保护好这些植物，每天工作呢是非常辛苦的。除草、松土、施肥， 冬天冷了给它加温，夏天热了开窗给它通风，保证它的生长环境。那么非常非常辛苦的工作。
Okay, Mr. Nie just told me that in order to improve the living environment for these plants, the staff has done a lot of work, such as heating the greenhouse in winter as well as cooling it in summer.
而我们之所以要保护好这些植物，主要目的在哪儿呢？因为现在世界上整个地球上生态破坏得很厉害，很多植物呢，在它原产地由于环境的破坏，它可能不能很好的生长了，可能都会灭绝。所以植物园呢就把它迁过来，在这个地方把它保护好。当它原产地的自然环境恢复以后，再把它回迁回去，这样做的一个资源的一个保护，这是一个很重要的目的。
迁地保护。
对，迁地保护。
Okay, so many of these plants are actually originally from other places, and as the original ecological environment has been damaged, the plants were relocated here, and when the original ecological environment gets better, these plants will be able to go their home back.
那么这边的话呢，就是我们一些多浆类植物了。
Okay,
多浆类植物。
those are succulent plants. Fantastic journey, isn't it? 谢谢聂老师带我们吃了这么多。
好的，
谢
谢谢，欢迎有机会再来。
好，
再见啊，
谢谢。
再见。
We are now in the world's first living plant garden of type specimen, and this is Huang Hong, director of the Lushan Botanical Garden and also general secretary of the International Association of Botanical Gardens. Mr. Huang, nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And I know that you created this type specimen garden. Could you please explain to me what is a type plant specimen?
Okay, type specimen actually is the plant, the first plant you find named in a local place. So this is the type specimen living collection, which we put our efforts to bring them together, which is to show the uniqueness of Lushan, the place, and also the botanical garden research history. So overall, we have assembled all the living type specimen plants in this specialized garden.
Okay.
And because the history of Lushan Botanical Garden can date it back over 150 years ago.
Okay, a long history. So, how many kinds of plants, type specimens are there in this garden?
So I have just mentioned the history of Lushan is pretty long. So dated back 100 years ago, many foreigners, missionary and plant hunter came here to do the plant hunting and also plant exploration.
Okay.
So the plant over here, the named and such as Lushan or Gulin in this place. So the type specimen totally over here is probably more than 60 or 68 something. That of course including below species taxa.
Okay. So many of the plants are named by the local places. Could you please introduce me a representative one in this garden?
Okay, here is a very nice plant. They call Visia gullingalia, which is you can say the gulling veg. Gulling veg is a wild plant. Actually, the natural distribution, these plants can be in central or eastern part of China.
Okay.
But the first this species discovered, found by the botanist called Bailey. So then he used the gulin because the gulin, the tongue, very famous. So they call it gullingalia.
Oh, that's the source of its name. So, Mr. Huang, why did you build this garden? What does it mean to the protection of plant diversity?
So Lushan Botanical Garden has about 90 years of history. So Lushan Botanical Garden was set up in 1934. So since this garden actually built up by the very famous, the godfather of Chinese botanist, the founder, Hu Xiansu. So we have been working very focused to do the plant conservation. So basically we do the ex-situ plant conservation in the garden. So the natural reserves actually is in-situ conservation. Here we trying to cover, besides the Lushan surrounding area or Jiangxi province, we also expanding our efforts to central China and the eastern part of China. So plant diversity conservation is very important because we live on the plants. The diversity, this specialized garden, other specialized garden actually show the people how important, how unique it is, how endemic for the native vegetation or native plants.
I really appreciate your job. So today I was really impressed by all the fantastic plants and also the efforts by the Lushan Botanical Garden to conserve these plants. So Mr. Huang, what do you think about the future development of the Lushan Botanical Garden, or maybe we can say of botanical gardens in China?
Yeah. So Lushan Botanical Garden is one of the important gardens. Also, it's the first scientific garden in China. So totally in China, we have more than 100, probably about 200 botanical gardens. So for plant conservation, China actually is the second largest the plant diversity country in the world. So we have a big job to do. So all the botanical gardens work together to focus on the threatened, endangered, and also endemic species, and also the national listed important plant species. So we basically focus these three category of the important plant to bring them to the garden ex-situ conservation.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Huang.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so that will be all for today's Xinhua Live. Thank you for watching and see you next time.